Yeah, the reason and I asked that is because like Manny Diaz, if you watch what he did at Miami, it's crazy at times. You got blitzes,
Right?
stunts, overloads. I think I saw a guy run from the sideline at one point to get
Feel
after the
me?
quarterback.
Yeah, he's really creative with that stuff, and just being able to play with a guy that's willing to just be aggressive and just show what he has. I love it.
How does it? I guess when you're thinking about that too, of the aggressiveness, the complexity, how long does it take to coordinate stuff like that? And how was the spring adjustment to some of those things?
It was pretty tough because obviously you gotta you gotta get the base stuff in first. So having to change all the names for that and just being able to relock in and get your base defense in, that was most important for us. So that took hold of that. So just being able to get that all in, I feel like we did a really good job.
A lot of conversation too about your teammates next to you, Tyler Elsdon and Kobe King at that Mike linebacker position.
Two
Um,
amazing guys.
how has that been? I guess just start right there. Two amazing guys. How has that competition been going? And with installing a new defense and the traffic cop kind of the front seven,
Yeah,
coordinating and all that stuff. How's that been?
it's been going well because you're seeing a lot of leadership qualities in them too, and they're you can see them growing up, and I just love it because like both of those guys, they're competing in everything. They're competing in lifting groups. They're competing in uh like running. They're competing when we're doing the walkthroughs, when we're in film. Everyone's just it's really just great. And then the fact that those guys are tight knit, like close, and they work together to make each other better. That only just makes it even better.
Uh, Kobe, as a young player, what is his personality like? He seems like a mature guy from the outside,
Yeah.
but we got our first chance to talk to him just a couple weeks ago. So, what's his personality like, and what should Penn State fans know about those two guys? Kind of as people.
Yeah. Well, shoe. I call him shoe because he built like an Adidas. But Kobe, Kobe, I love Kobe. He's a funny dude. But he comes into work every day, and he's gonna try to outwork you and make you better. And I've always loved that since he came on campus.
So we talked. I want to get into a couple of specifics. I don't want to get you in trouble talking about scheme and stuff like that, but I
Yeah.
want to know kind of the aggressiveness. Does that extend? Because you're a linebacker, you're in that. We're playing the run, and we also have pass responsibility. So,
Yeah.
does the aggressiveness translate also to the secondary in Manny Diaz's schemes?
Oh, for sure. I feel like those guys are gonna have to they're gonna have to be great in that aspect, and I feel like they can. It's only about opportunity. Whoever gets the opportunity has to seize it.
And you mentioned playing on third down being something big for you this year. Former safety and wide receiver playing that field backer position. Now you mentioned you're on the field for all three downs. What
Mhm.
I guess I don't want to say what goals do you have because obviously it's to execute your assignment on every play, but like what is it that you want to show? What are the qualities or the things that you can do that people don't know yet?
I just feel like my speed, paired with just being able to get to the ball, that's all I really have to do. I feel like if I show that, that's the most important part. But obviously, we have to do what we have to do to get the win each week.
So I want to ask you about that because that's been a conversation point this year, and this is going to be a bit of a setup. There's a bit of a preface here, so because I want to take you through kind of maybe the lens outside of the football program from other people
Mhm.
who followed football for most of their life, where
Yeah.
uh, you see someone like you moving into the box, and I'm guilty of this too, but fans say, okay, Curtis is going to gain some weight this offseason, get bigger, 235, play closer to
Mhm.
that traditional size. And a lot of people, that's their idea, is bigger is always better. But this season, you and I would say even most of your teammates dropped weight, playing at
Mhm.
227. You talked about playing with speed and sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Uh, what maybe is the disconnect between what people on the outside think about football and the realities of what's forcing and driving modern football to make those decisions? Because those seem like conscious
Mhm.
decisions.
Yeah, I wish the people that are outside of football could like see practice and see how guys work because in my opinion, weight is just a number. I feel like a dude's heart and a dude's will to get to the ball and do what he has to do as a defender, that overrides anything. Like little Kalen King, you could say he one of the smaller guys, but he probably the most strapped up guy we got out there. So I I feel like it's just about like heart and determination to do your job.
So, and this is one of those situations where it's almost like a lawyer asking a question I know the answer to.
Yeah.
You have no fear whatsoever about playing at the weight you play at in the box and being able to take on blocks and block
No.
destruction and that stuff.
No, no. It's really about just learn doing your fundamentals and doing it how you need to do it. And if you do that, I feel like I don't think anyone can mess with it in the box.
Yeah, and you were a hard hitter last season. You had some of those highlight hits coming from the edge of the box. So when it comes to some of the responsibilities and get into a little bit of the transition here, what is the biggest difference or what are the things that you've been keying on to kind of improve where you weren't doing them last season now that you will be, now that you're a full-time player between the tackles?
Well, really, it's just I feel like that's a question like asking me what I miss because it's being in space. I miss being in space. That was probably one of the better parts because you're out there, you can show your coverage skills, and then you have opportunities to blitz and get in the box and show what you can do in the box. So uh, obviously I miss being in space, but being in that close quarters, it gives you opportunity too because you can really hide in there and be able to get what you need to get out of that.
Yeah, I remember saying to you, I think last year, I the Sam position to me seems super hard because you've got to be a part of the run fits. You've got to make sure
Mhm.
that you're a part of the run and you've got your responsibilities. But in certain positions, certain coverage schemes, you got to cover all the way to the sideline. So
Yeah.
how do you manage that? What are the things that you're doing to be able to function in that very difficult environment?
Well, it's really just about eye discipline and just seeing your key, and your key takes you to the ball. So, as a Sam, your key really would be a lot of times like seeing if a receiver would give you certain keys, or seeing if the quarterback's eyes were looking out, or seeing certain keys from the end man line, like the line and stuff. So that would pretty much give it away. So you just really have to be disciplined with the eyes.
And this might be the answer to the next question, but I had a guest on the podcast last week talking about RPOs and
Mm.
modern
Yeah,
college
RPOs will
football.
get you. RPOs will get you.
Do you feel like you can be
But
right? Like this is the thing I said is I don't feel like linebackers can be right anymore
well, you
because of the
definitely can.
ridiculous.
You definitely can because if you have your eyes where they need to be and see certain things like a certain pull or a certain way somebody comes out their stance or even a way somebody lines up, that'll pretty much give it away.
So even when all of the traditional keys, and this is where I think there's a bit of a disconnect, if you played linebacker in high school, follow the
Hmm.
guard, you see the run keys, you run to your gap. But in
Yeah,
RPO, it's taking advantage of all of those drilled in instincts of, hey, they're going to come downhill when they see this, so pull the ball and throw it. So
yeah,
are your keys different now because you have to look at different things than maybe
yeah. I would
previously it
definitely, I
was?
would definitely say that because you just have to see more, like with your eyes. So that's why eye discipline is so important in this day and age of football.
Um, I want to talk to you a little bit about who you are outside of football, but
Mm.
this is kind of bridging the gap is you do something at a very high level. It doesn't matter what it is. Doing something at an exceptional level takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of time, and
Mm.
I've always said you got to be a little bit crazy to be really great at stuff. So,
Yeah.
why did you choose this path?
Why did I choose football?
Yeah.
Um, I'm not gonna lie. It started because I was a little too short to be a power forward. So, because I know y'all saw the film, I was getting up there, but honestly, it was just like I fell in love with the process. Like I started out as a receiver. I took the training that I needed to do to get better at that and work at that. And then I had this random dude, Coach Pry, come up to my school and say, "Hey, I think you should try linebacker." So I started working defense. I started playing DB, just trying everything and trying all those positions. I really fell in love with the game. I would say that.
And it's hard to get out of your system. There's been
Yeah.
days where I'm like, I don't know how to not think about football. And I imagine,
Yeah.
like, that is a large part of your day. But what do you do outside of football? What do you do to get away from the game and kind of reset and recharge?
Um, I would say gaming. I'm a pretty avid gamer. I like to play Call of Duty, 2K, all of those games. I feel like that just allows you to relax and just be able to take your mind off certain things.
Me too, but I suck at video games. So there's.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, they be super sweaty on there. It'd be some guys on the game.
oh yeah,
So
there are people that take gaming as seriously as you take football,
no, I
and it's
swear, I
crazy.
swear.
So I guess the future for you, obviously, you have an intent path in front of you, but you've got a major at Penn State. So, what are some of the things maybe you're thinking about in your futures? Maybe things you pursue whenever football ends.
I definitely want to pursue coaching. I feel like just being able to keep the game going and being able to instill the passion into kids like that, because a big influence for me doing football again was my coaches, like up through when I was playing Brooklyn Park Broncos 6U, like just having that person in your life that's driving you to be better every day, and making sure you're good school wise and on the field, that's could be big in somebody's life. So I feel like that's something I would want to pursue.
Curtis Jacobs, number 23 on the field, number 1 in our hearts here on the BWI Daily Edition, a football
Appreciate that.
lifer. Thanks for coming on the show. This was so much fun. Thank you for this.
No problem. I would love to come back on anytime.
Yeah, for sure. We will make sure that happens. But for now, that'll do it today on the BWI Daily Edition. I'm your host, Thomas Frank Carr. Curtis Jacobs taking enough time for us today. Don't want to take up too much of his time. But make sure you subscribe here to Blue White Illustrated on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss anything like in-depth conversations about the modern game of linebacker. This is so cool. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the BWI Daily.